Hello. I know you've been looking forward to another episode of this fascinating show. And yeah, so here I am. Today I've decided to talk to you about mail because so much of our communication is done by mail right now. And there's something that troubles me a little bit. In general, I like getting messages from you. It's just, usually the beginning. I don't really care, but since checks are pretty conventional, it's good to be aware of the convention for English speaking countries or English speakers. Um, First of all, if you start like, with the title, I mean, first of all, it's kind of well, awkward or at least unusual to write all the titles that one has in English. Like if somebody's a professor, you just choose, the highest title. Like dear professor is enough rather than dear professor, doctor, habilitated, whoever, docent, I don't know. Yeah. In English, we don't do this. Just dear professor, dear doctor, blah, blah is enough. Um, if somebody doesn't have those titles, we don't write dear magister, whatever. It's also unusual, I guess. Or dear master. I've never heard it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I don't know. I've never encountered anything like being addressed by your master's title or whatever. So you write dear Mr. or dear Ms. Yeah, Mr. spelled M-R dot or Ms. M-S dot. Yeah, in American English, and British is without the dot. So dear Mr. Smith, dear Ms. Smith. Um, for women, when it comes to titles for women, there is something like Mrs. spelled M-R-S, or Miss spelled M-I-S-S. But these are no longer used. It's kind of obsolete. It's not 1960s anymore. We don't have to know or recognize whether the woman is married or not. So Ms. is the choice for both women, who are married or who are not married. So irrespective of their or our marital status, you can use Ms. MS, yeah, or with a dot in American English. Um, then when it comes to content, so of course, like it's good to identify why you're writing. If it's more formal, you start with I am writing in order to, and you specify the aim. Um, if it's less formal, so it's okay to be less formal when you're on like friendly terms. And I don't mean like friends, but like, like we've already been acquainted with each other to a certain degree, so it's okay. And if you have like this kind of relationship as with me with any other teacher from an English speaking country, usually it's okay to address them by the first name. And well, it's best to do as the person suggests so that you don't offend anybody. But um, I guess it's not like Austro-Hungarian Empire. Um, like Anglos or Americans tend to be a little bit more or less uptight, more relaxed about those titles. So it's okay to be on first name basis with professors, doctors, not only people like me with just magister. Okay. Um, it's good practice to kind of like, especially if we don't meet very often, it's good to rate what course you're enrolled for so that, it's not super obvious, especially if I meet you only once a week and, we've had just a few classes and maybe you were absent a few times and it's impossible for me to tell what course you're talking about. Because, regularly, a teacher doesn't only teach one group, but more. huh? So it's good to identify like what course you're enrolled for, unless it's super obvious from the task, right? Um, then when it comes to what is it? When it comes to yeah, sorry, when you write your essay or any homework that you're asked to write, so please make sure that your name is included in the document's name, because otherwise, I get a lot of documents called essay. Surprise, surprise, yeah, or English essay, or just English. So, yes, I mean, I'm trying to do my best not to get confused, but everybody, everybody makes mistakes, including me, or maybe especially me. So, to prevent this kind of confusion so that you don't get some other person's, work instead of yours, it's a good idea to write your name um, instead of just an essay. By the way, an essay is spelled E-S-S-A-Y. Essay. Sorry for that. Um, okay, I think that will be all for today. And yeah, so looking forward to your mail um, in a suitable format right now. Bye.